Hello and welcome to the Unapologetically Imperfect podcast. I am Michelle Lane.
I'm Michelle Moore. We're two real women sharing real life examples of how you can shift into unapologetically embracing your imperfection.
So get ready for your transformation. Michelle, hello. We are here again for a recording. So excited.
Wow.
Oh man, last conversation that we had was all around COVID-19 in its abbreviated form and what it's bringing up for ourselves, for our clients. And today we were both inspired to just hit record one more time to bring you, our listeners, better depth on the explanation of what we can do, like those tangible takeaways that you can take with you and start to apply in your life right now for what you're experiencing, and then continue to apply them and feel in your body the difference that it brings for you, the peace, the joy, the shifts that are available for you when we're willing to step in, right? And so before I get on my end, do you feel like, was there anything else in that I mean, there's so much going through my mind and what you shared, and we'll put a link to that episode below, but you started off with, we're talking about our body and how it gives us sensations. And then you so beautifully shared how you get through some of that in your experience from where you've been. And you summed it up in three steps-ish, like acknowledging and then approving for it to be there, and then appreciating or accepting like what it has for you. And what I love that you mentioned, and I'm sure we'll talk about more in this episode, is how that's a great approach and that works for you. And I'm going to give a little bit on what works for me, and somewhere you guys are going to find what works for you. And that's the purpose in opening these conversations. So Michelle, I just wanted to give that back to you for a second, since you so brilliantly gave us the 3 A's in this assignment. There's another A.
I just think it's really important that during this time, there's just a slowing down and a kindness and a grace that we're giving ourselves. And I don't know of anyone who responds to being yelled at and being judged and being, spoken to in a demeaning way, or, having people be irritated with you. I don't know anybody that responds really positively to that. And yet so often that's how we treat our feelings and our emotions, right? We yell at them and we tell them that they're bad, and that they shouldn't be there, and we judge them. And I like to think, if I treated a friend of mine that way, right, they probably wouldn't want to like hang out really very often. And so the biggest piece from my experience is whatever that looks like for you, to just allow what is to be. And a lot of people have a big problem with that, because they think there's a resignation energy, like, oh, I'm just resigning, like I have to be stuck here. But the reality is that we don't have any control over, and we can't change anything that we don't acknowledge the existence of. And there's a lot of really powerful speakers and motivational folks out there that have said some version of, the reality is, like, in order to change something, you got to admit it, and you got to admit it like real talk, not like super soft and kid gloves. Like, let's just be real. Like, if you're overweight, then like call it like it is. And that's just because once we acknowledge it, now we have the power to do something about it. If you're angry, if your body's hurting, or whatever it is, let's just bring that up to the surface, not to demean you or judge you, but just to say, okay, this is it. I'm here. Now what? And that's what we wanted to bring into this conversation today, is the now what, because awareness is powerful, and it's not like, awareness is powerful and it doesn't equal a breakthrough. It's what comes next. And I
Yeah.
know, Michelle, you've done so much work with the body and with energetic healing, and with the Reiki that you do, and the brain spotting training you have. So what are the things for you when you find yourself in these moments and spaces? Because it's not just our clients, it's us too.
Yeah. Every human being on this planet, no matter how much mastery you've mastered in personal development, like brain's really smart and sexy, and we're constantly going through life stuff. Who ever thought we'd be locked down? The world has become social media, so we're trying to now find a balance in expressing ourselves and being in these moments and staying in communication and being here with people and not be on social media too much, or noticing our hours going up and then not judging ourselves for the hours that we're spending and consuming.
Right.
Really, it does come down to those choices, and you can have all the information in the world. You can read all the books. I've got the books. You got all the books. Read the books. Do you do the exercises in the books? Do you do the journaling? Do you do the things that you're like, oh, that sounds good, I should come back to that? What we want to offer you is a way to take the information and apply it into transformation. And the only way that that happens is through action. And so being willing to step in and just own that you're having this sway of emotion. Let's pick one. For today, let's pick one. Let's say we're anxious. Anxiety has been coming up so much. So whether it is or isn't, it doesn't take away that it's real now for you. So as I work with clients and help them understand the body, the mind-body connection, what's happening energetically, we're noticing that anxiety lessens and lessens and lessens. And whether it's from energetically tapping in from that life force energy that's available to all of us in abundance, right? Like that same side is what's available to us based off what we focus on all the time. So whether out loud or internally, that subconscious thinking of, I don't want this, is still reproducing it in our life. So if you know you get anxious, you're feeling anxiety, that chest is beating, and I'll use this as an example because it happens for me. I've had a history and pattern of anxiety, and now that I look back, connecting the dots, probably more than I ever was obviously clinically diagnosed, but it was a function. And it was a function in allowing that judgment and negativity to keep going in my brain. And to heal that, this is the simple steps that have been there to help, right? So there's a family of unity and what we'll both be sharing with you, and you can pick and pull and try whatever it is for you that sounds good, but just please try something. Try it differently and be with that, and try it again and try it again, and be willing to step in, because that's where the transformation comes from. So as an example, if that anxiety is there, maybe you feel it in your chest. Maybe you feel it as a heartbeat that's additional pounding. Maybe you feel it as a headache. Maybe you feel that shortness in your breath where you're just not breathing. What are some things we can do, right? We can feel into it. We can actually just face it to begin with. Your awareness, facing it. We can just face it head on and say, okay, anxiety's here. There's not one person I talk to that's not aware that anxiety is present. It's what we do with it after that moment that changes what we do want or what we don't want more of, right? So let's just be in that moment real quick. Say it's here, and maybe it's there for you on some level. And maybe though you don't feel it in this moment, isn't true that it's not there. And I love to close my eyes and I just breathe into it. And I let our body feel it. And Michelle, both of us work within that attunement between the body and the mind. What's going on in our body and what's happening in our mind, and how we can pull them together to heal together, because they really do just want to be free and heal. So as we breathe in, maybe you're noticing that you can't take a full breath and it's just stuck at your chest. Maybe you're noticing as you exhale, your shoulders relax just a little bit deeper. And maybe you're noticing as you're allowing it to just be here right now, your next breath is deeper. And as you exhale, you're willing to allow it come out more. And as you're breathing through this anxiety that's present, maybe you're noticing that now you can take a deeper breath because you're not feeling alone. And now you can just be with that moment And as you're facing that feeling, that emotion that maybe makes us uncomfortable, you notice that you're safe. And you notice that no matter what's happening around you, you can acknowledge that there's a choice in there for you. I can choose to stay here, or I can choose what makes me feel better, what I want more of. And maybe you're not even noticing in that moment that that's a possibility for you. And now you now know. And what will you choose? So as we breathe in, you can continue to focus on that breath. Open your eyes and be with that feeling. As you face it, you're with it and you feel it. And then Michelle, what I love that you shared in our last episode was tuning in. You have hand and belly, and I always find so much comfort in that as well. I like to do 2 hands on my heart. It's like I'm giving myself a hug. And I literally ask in that moment, what are you here to teach me? What are you here that I need to know about myself? And you shared that you also have that self-talk, that gentle, warm, loving self-talk.
Right.
That you might be listening right now and go, come on, that's what we're doing. Like, this is the reason. I did that so much too. I was so busy being busy, I passed right by it. And until I started really tuning in, I had no way of knowing what messages were there for me. And on an energetic standpoint, I just kept creating more chaos in my world instead of being with this peace. And so simply in just breathing into that and asking, whether it's anxiety or overwhelm or stress, what do I want instead? Right? What are you here to teach me? You might listen and you'll start to hear, I'm really busy right now. I just need some downtime. I just need to stop doing. I need to go outside. I just want to sit in that lounger in that sunshine. You guys, there's going to be something. I don't know what that is for you.
Right.
You know. And so when we can stop pretending that we don't know and we can start tuning in to what's really there, just that alone, all of a sudden I tune back in and my anxiety is starting to diminish. By allowing its presence to be there, by facing it and feeling it, I can now release it. I can take the lesson and take the action and feel the shift in my body as I free it. I learned the concept of face, feel, and free it from a beautiful coach, Joy Kingsborough, and she teaches it on an energetic level, and it's so similar to your acknowledge, approve, and appreciate it or accept it. They're all on the same lines, right?
Yeah.
And those are tangible things. It doesn't matter what emotion it is. If there's sadness there, what does it have to teach you right now? Give yourself the few minutes. We all are being forced through this COVID virus to sit and be still. And some of us are not even knowing acknowledge that we don't like to do that. And there's a reason. And I believe that there's a reason it's coming up so we can learn about us. I don't believe we're going to ever go back to the way it was before. There's going to be new learnings. We're already learning. My kids are digitally learning online. You're going to have to be okay while you're not okay.
Right.
And so these are tangible ways that we can bring to you guys to take action right now and give yourself those moments. Prove me wrong, prove me right. Just try it for yourself and be willing to lean in a little bit more in those places you hadn't given consideration for. And I feel like there's so much power in that, Michelle. And so much of the transformation that we work with our clients on is just accepting what is right now so we can find the belief, we can find the feeling, we can find where it is we're feeling stuck and where we want to go.
Yeah.
And then what's it going to take step by step by step to get there? Not in overwhelming ourselves by circling back around into the negative self-talk, the loop, the fear loop, the stuff that keeps us from accepting it.
Right.
And feeling it in that moment. So that's my take on it with an energetic spin. It's been invaluable in my life to getting back to that love and appreciation. Like we are all born with that piece and we learn everything else through childhood to now to continuously. We decide we don't want to feel that way again and we never feel that way again. And what we're left with is what we're not really truly wanting because we're focusing on all the things we don't want. So, and breathing's good. Breathing is always available. It's free. It's there. And I started this, guys, and I couldn't get breath. It was stuck. I work out, it's still stuck. I do all the things that are healthy, it's still stuck because I wasn't allowing it in. It should actually kind of go to your belly. You can actually feel your belly rise, belly fall. So another tip is just put your tongue at the roof of your mouth as you're breathing. And it gives your mind something to focus on. So it allows you to bring in more air. And then giving permission to exhale really deeply.
That was beautiful. I would replay that section and invite anybody that really resonated with to do the same. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
I didn't have the awareness that I felt any sort of anxious sensations in my body, but I felt like such a calming and a centering in that process, and I wasn't timing it, but I don't think it took very long. And that's the thing that we have to remind ourselves of. Our brain is super good at convincing us that we don't have time for things, or that something's going to take 3 hours or 4 hours or an hour that we don't have. And really it's not. And we're breathing all the time anyway. And I love what you shared, because it just put a level of intention to the breath that we're breathing already, and noticing and bringing the awareness. What were you saying?
It's what connects us. It connects us. Our mind isn't the enemy. Our body isn't the enemy. It's what we're telling it and making things mean in between that creates the separation. And when you join in your spirit, your faith, God, universe, source, all of it's meant, those chakras I'm learning, which is amazing. I've never thought I'd be learning about this, but they're all a base to our spine. They're like this energetic flow that connects us. And when anything is out of disalignment, it's just a place where that energy can't flow through. And so we'll feel it as body emotion. We'll feel it as what we're thinking. We'll feel it as all these external things. And when we can learn to go within, like, and tuning in and just understanding the mind and understanding that connection, there's so much freedom. And so whether you find yourself with COVID right now on the front line and facing it every single day in your work, not only thank you and bless you so much for being there in your work and space, for helping everyone else heal and being willing to expose yourself every single day, this is still something that's for you. Or whether you're home with the kids and all the chaos that happens with that, there's still a moment for you to find for yourself, or teach your kids and do it together. And this moment is for you. And if you find yourself with all this time on your hands right now, this is especially for you, so you can begin your journey on where it takes you next. That's my 2 cents for this episode. I feel like with that, I'm complete.
I love it. I think it's really good.
Good stuff.
Yeah, it's we can get really far ahead in the process and think about 5 steps or 10 steps or 15 steps ahead. But if we can use, and we can, all of us can use our breath, then what that does is it can give us a sense of control. Yeah. Because when we can take our breath and breathe intentionally, and what I teach is something that I learned, which is just to inhale for a count of 4 and exhale for just a little bit longer. Like, it doesn't have to be anything like super intense or complex, but just inhale for 4 and exhale just a little bit longer. Then you can slow your heart rate down. And so if you can slow the body down, then that leads to the awareness, like you were sharing so beautifully, Michelle, that we can then slow the mind down. And if we can slow the mind down, then we can become aware of the thoughts that we're thinking. And if we can become aware of the thoughts that we're thinking, then we can make a new choice. And that's something that's just incredibly powerful, that I love. And I would encourage anybody, whether you've been doing this for a really long time, this being the personal development work, any of that, don't dismiss this because of the simplicity of it. And then notice and pay attention to how how you feel and respond after this. And we can all find 60 seconds, 30 seconds to breathe in the car, to breathe in the bathroom, to breathe when we're peeing, to breathe when we're cooking dinner. I love that so very much. Thank you.
What was coming through is our thoughts are an invitation to our healing, right?
Mm.
They're there to teach us, not scare us. And that choice comes into that, and what we're choosing to learn from it. And then just opening that there's so much more to learn than what we know in this current moment can be so freeing, and getting us to that next place, getting us over the fence, getting us out of whatever this is that we are feeling trapped in, and knowing that there's another way. You know, the book, I've been reading this book. I love it. Marie Forleo's Everything is Figure Outable. And if we just take that sentence and apply it to anything we've talked about in these last 2 episodes, or to this breathing, or to this next phase for whatever we're facing through this pandemic, everything is figure outable when you give yourself permission to believe that wholeheartedly in your body.
I love that. Thank you, Michelle.
You're welcome. Thank you. Let us know, you guys. Comment below. Give it a try. Love to hear your feedback. I'd love to hear which of these things you've applied and how it worked for you. And then let us know where that thought process took you from there, what you want to know more of. There's so many ways to open a conversation around one topic, and we have so much to bring for you, that we want it to be the most resonant with you, especially during these times. So I can say wholeheartedly that I thank you so much for being here. I'm sure, Michelle, I mean, you have a mouth and a brain and a thought, and you can say the same, but I'm just feeling this connectedness, and that we just say thank you so much for taking the time to listen in and being a part of our subscribers. And please feel free to share this out with anybody that you think would be welcoming into listening, or needing a little bit of the Michelles in their life. And please subscribe below. Any final words?
No, I don't think so. I think that was beautiful, and I feel complete.
I love it. We are all in this together, and we don't heal by ourselves, right? We're all human on this earth. And when we can tune into our humanity, we can begin to understand ourselves in a whole broader spectrum. So thank you so much, Michelle, for the conversation today. And thank you guys for tuning in. And again, we're really excited to see how this information helps as you apply it in your life, take action, and make it into your next transformation.
I love it. Thank you.
Bye. Talk to you next week.
Bye.